Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Real Truth Call. Today is Friday. It is March the 23rd, 2018. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Jared, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Well, praise the Lord. God bless you, and thank you for coming in tonight.
Happy hallelujah.
That's right. Okay, so how are you?
I'm doing just fantabulistic.
Okay. Well, you actually have a caller already in the queue waiting to ask you a question.
Okay.
Jared, hi. It's 33-6 Astrologer calling you. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm fine. I just was telling Dr. WC that I'd sent you an email after we spoke briefly, and I know you're getting tons of emails all the time. You're saying at that time you're getting about 100 a day, so I didn't expect to hear back from you. I just want to know if you can remember getting it.
You might want to just copy it to me again.
Yeah, the title said Astrologer 33-6.
Okay. Because I had a couple of people request a way to get in touch with you.
Oh, get in touch with me? Oh, yeah?
Yeah. There were a couple of people that said they wanted to speak with the astrologer.
Well, I can give you a phone number. I don't mind giving it out unless you'd rather not do it that way.
Well, I'll tell you what, just email it.
Okay, but it is emailed. Actually, it's in that email that I sent you. But as you requested, I'll send the whole thing again. Okay.
Send it again and highlight it as a 33-6 because.
Yeah, I did that.
I'll lose it.
I put that in the subject. It's in the subject matter. But anyway, so Jared, I just want to ask you a quick question. What's going to happen with people when they go to exchange or whatever? And if they have a criminal record, will they in any way will that be documented and discerned?
Well, they know everything about everybody pretty much. So it's not really complicated. I mean, if you're a mass murderer and you're on the lam and or you've escaped from prison or incarceration or facility, you're gonna, you know what I mean? You're gonna get taken out.
Nothing like that. I got busted for trafficking for weed for 2 ounces of weed back in 1973. So that was considered a criminal record.
Okay, if you're not speaking, mute yourself, please. Start fix yourself. You got background noise.
Yeah, it sounds like someone's running a bath. Okay,
Thank
Jared,
you.
one other question, Jared. You know, I don't know if you're aware of this, but our dollar up here in Canada is like 70 cents to your dollar down there. Do you know when that, with the event and whatnot, is that going to change? Do you think, or do you have any idea about that?
We're going to see an equalization of currencies across the planet. Once the gold standard's in full swing, we aren't going to have this lopsided fiat system that we've had for so many decades. You've got backing for countries that have moved into place. You've got currency. You've got wealth that's been moved into place. You have, we've seen 1 million tons of gold be moved and put into place. So there's a lot of structuring going on to the reset of currencies. You've got to have a global reset of currencies when you
across
go
the board.
You just do. I mean, you've got all these lopsided currencies that are, from one end of the spectrum to the other, and it's just very confusing. So when you go to the gold, when the yuan starts trading in oil futures and as a gold standard petro yuan, everything's going to change. It's just
right.
Things are going to completely. U.S. will be forced to come up with a gold-backed currency, new currency that's gold-backed.
Gotcha.
And as all the other countries will have to follow suit. If they don't, turn into a banana republic.
Right. Finally, one thing here on IDC, Dinar Chronicles. It was just stated that if you have 1 million ZIM or 1 trillion ZIM, that would equate to, if it's at 10 cents, it would come out to $10 million. Well, anyone knows that 1/10 of the 12 trillion is 100 billion. You're just taking off, a zero.
Yeah.
So.
No, I would, if people could understand this, just kind of not concentrate on the rates because the rates will be known.
Yeah.
So confusing because they're really high and then they're really low and then people. So I just say, just don't pay attention to the rate.
Yeah, I was just curious. It was repeated 2 days in a row through Judy. I mean, God bless her. She's done an amazing job, diligently every day reporting a synopsis of each of these. People like Zapp and Bruce and those, and that's what she's probably just writing down without thinking about it. Because if you take a 10 cents of 100 trillion, it comes to 100 billion, which is still a crazy amount.
People's math is a little lacking in some areas.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. Well, listen, I won't take any more of your time. I look forward to speaking with you one day, and I'll forward that letter again. And it was mainly to let you know that I will be funding some tons of med beds when the time is right for that to go through. And
need all the help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you've got. Like I said in the letter, I'll just say briefly, I had 8 times one, or no, 10, I had 10 times 100 trillion notes, and at the time, I thought, what am I going to do with this? So I gave 6 away. I gave it to Zora. It was Zora's son Billy, and he passed it on, and then I gave some to one who knows, Richard McKim Jr., and then. Just when I'd spoken to a lot to Richard, I think you know of him, and the night I spoke to him, he's going to call me back, and because he was in the middle of something, and never heard from him again. And then, as you probably know, he's sort of removed himself to get mentored or whatever. And I had actually looked at his chart because he gave me his birth data, and I saw some things there that I wanted to share with him that he might want to just. Keep cool on, because he was saying some things, doing some things that just seemed like it was not the same guy that we had all known and come to love. And it was evident in his chart that I just wanted to say respectfully, man, you better should cool your jets, because you're putting people off and you're saying things that's just not like you. And there could be some ramifications. And I don't know whether or not that was it, but he disappeared off the face of the, net. The internet.
He disappeared last year.
Yeah, I have the date and all that. We had talked quite a bit, actually, and had a really some nice conversations. But anyway, I sent 3 to him, and he was going to disperse them himself. And I had emailed him back after that. Could you send me back 1 or 2? Because I have somebody I want to send something to, and I never heard from him. Anyway, that's another story, brother. I'm going to let you go and let some other people get on, okay? And I wish you well.
Right.
Send you a hug.
All right,
and,
you too.
Okay, thank you, man. Take care, brother.
Thank you. All
okay,
right.
Bye.
Bye.
Jared.
Yes.
Is there an open hunting season on our black youth? Did you see the shooting of a black guy in his own backyard by 2 policemen 20 times, and they had a policeman in a helicopter directing the 2 policemen on the ground?
The certain acts around this time, because the bad guys are getting desperate, or they try to incite conflict amongst the human race, and that's a prime example of it. Trying to incite conflict and aggressiveness and hatred, and so no, it's not a war on any youth. Period. It's just to try to start conflict. And it's the same old. It's like a worn out shoe. They've been doing it forever in this country, and that's pitting black against white and white against black and Protestant against Catholic and, Muslim against so-and-so. I mean, it's a constant pitting and constant chaos of pitting humans against humans and creating that anger and that conflict and that then eventually destruction. And it's just old. The human race has to come together as brothers and sisters, love one another in harmony and servitude. The American people have to start working on serving one another. The human race, in order for it to survive, must go into a level of servitude and stop being so possessed, so to speak, on monetary, material, having, wanting, buying, and thinking that is their avenue or their realm of happiness, which it isn't, and start thinking about what they can do to help others, how they can help others, how they can serve others, whether it be a smile, a laugh, a hug, a helping hand, whatever. But, this is the old third dimension paradigm. It's the old way in third dimensional frequencies, something that heinous of shooting another human being several times to create chaos and havoc and pain and sorrow and anguish. And it doesn't work anymore. The vibrational frequencies on this planet have changed to such an extent that type of vibrational frequency just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't incite massive crowds of conflict. They've tried to hire people, and those people have gone out and tried to incite conflict and chaos amongst other people in different neighborhoods across the country. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. The human race is becoming more and more aware, more and more awake, much more clear on what's been going on, what's been happening for a very long time, to them, to the people that they love, to people that they know. Things continually go on. The manipulation, deception, lies, and it just continues. And I think that the human race is becoming awake enough to understand that this ends. It ends. It no longer is acceptable, and we no longer care to live in a slavery-type position where a handful of beings control everything and dictate lack of amongst the slaves, and incite riots and conflict and shootings and killings and wars and more anger and more conflict. We all know as a people it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It does not do anything. It creates everything, but it creates all disharmony. And we've learned that through constant wars. I mean, this country's been at war, with the exception of 6 years, forever. We've been, the bad guys have sent control of the military in this country and have sent it all over the world to bomb and blow up and rape and pillage countries. And the planet is tired of it. They are fed up with it. They're just completely tired of the whole nonsense. And we're shifting. And nobody's going to stop it. We're shifting in a whole new direction of positivity, of love, of compassion, of caring, of serving one another. And, that's where we're at.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Garrett?
Yes.
My name is Lee. I'm from Westchester County.
Sure.
What you said is wonderful, but we have one problem in this country. Blacks are not liked, particularly black men. I saw a program on TV regarding how the Germans treat their prisoners, and it works. And the first thing that this warden said from Germany is that it will never happen in your country because of racism. And you have individuals who truly don't like black folks, particularly black men. And
well, I'll give
the
you
hatred goes back, and I will never understand why.
Well, I'll give you an end for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand vibrational frequencies.
Yes, I do.
All right. So the higher the vibration, the less of a chance of that feeling, emotion, or attitude can exist in a higher vibrational frequency. Can't exist. It's not possible. It either dispels itself or collapses on itself and no longer can operate in that vibrational frequency. So when we're talking about a galactic wave, an ascension, a diversion of humanity to a higher level of existence, a higher level of vibrational frequencies, those who have that attitude, deep ingrained, deep-seated throughout generations of families, where they dislike a color of skin, a particular gender, and carry it with them with aggressiveness, will not be able to function in a higher vibrational frequency. They will not. They will shut down. They will vanish, so to speak.
I really hope that comes to fruition. I really hope it does.
It is. It's a given. It's a cleansing process of planet Earth and the human race. And we have obviously, it's already taking place. Things are taking place. And it all boils back down to parenting. And it depends on how the parents were parented, and those parents were parented, and the morals and the ethics and the attitudes, because the teachers are the parents in the beginning. And if the parents don't have love in their hearts and caring and are not prejudiced and are not religiously stigmatized, then they will do well, because they love their children, will teach their children that everybody is equal, everybody is loved, everybody is cared for, and helping one another is the thing of the future for this planet. Assisting, serving. How may I serve you? How may I help? Instead of being a minority, it will be a majority.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jared?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Steve in Texas. I'm one of your future medbed manufacturers.
Okay, Steve.
I've emailed you a couple times. I'm sure you've gotten so many emails you probably forgot this a couple months ago. But last time we talked, you basically said that kind of the decision making on the RV Star was kind of off planet. Is that correct?
Pretty much a combination of, there's people that are actually making breakthroughs with the transfer of funds and monies, and cooperation is getting better. Funds are flowing. The hydration of the human race is near. So off planet, yeah, way off planet. There is I'll just put it this way: heaven is in charge of this whole process.
Right. So basically, though, the security of the funds being moved around is getting a lot better then, right? I mean, it's I've done meditations on it. We're trying to free up the dark energies and disperse them and dispel them so that there's fluid movement of finances across the planet, so that things can be accomplished and things can be done. And I believe that it's much more fluid now than it was before. There's still problems with blocking after it arrives at a certain location, where the individuals can't access it. They hold it up, and that's the danger that's incurred with the dark agenda controlled system on the planet. There are ways of moving it outside of their touch, but there's certain areas that still have sticky fingers. And then you have to worry. You think about trusting governments and being able to trust them when you send them a large sum of funds. Is it going to get to the people? See, my vote is that the way to circulate wealth amongst the planet is through human beings, through people. And, I've talked to thousands of people that are at the ready to help other people financially. And not just hand them a stack of money, but just to help them and get them situated and, a nice place they can live, and clothing and food and well-being and caring for one another. And that's what this money's for. It's for every able-bodied human to help others and to care for one another. And those who have it are to help disperse it and help others with it. And that's the quickest way to get to the majority to get to all of humanity. It's like paying it forward on a continual basis and networking the funds and the finances out to the people.
It's taking the government out of it. But the reason I'm asking that is because, you brought up a few times about the Petro Yuan going live, it's 7:30 Eastern time on Sunday night, our time versus in China. But a friend of mine who's in the financial industry basically said that what he heard is that the quantum system is going to go live with the yuan going gold back, so everybody's going to be forced to get into the new financial system and actually declare at some point that their currencies are gold back, and the revaluation is going to occur. Do you think that's accurate or not?
Yeah, okay. Common sense is that when you like I said earlier, when you shift from a fiat system to a gold-backed system, you have to have a global currency reset, and you have to issue. You don't have to, but you issue gold-backed currencies to equalize your economic structure in your country so you don't have total collapse. You can't have a fiat currency with a gold-backed currency. It's the old system. So agreeing with you that there won't be much of a choice for countries. They're going to have to go to the gold-backed system. Now, they all agreed on that a long time ago. So it's not something that's a surprise. So, these countries, they realize that they're going to be in a position that they have to go gold back. Now, a lot of countries have bought gold. They've stockpiled hard assets to be able to back their currencies. And then there have been some assistance. You've got the royals, you've got the Asian families, and I'm not talking about the bad ones. I'm talking about the good ones, because there are bad ones. And there are good ones.
That's very confusing about the Asian families and the elders and grandfather, because obviously there's bad elders and good elders, right?
Yep, that's exactly right. There's always the good and bad. There's always good and bad, and it confuses people out there. And there's a lot of stockpiles of wealth, period. And for anybody to think that, for the last several 100,000 years on this planet that wealth hasn't accumulated, because it has. There have been tremendous amount of civilizations way before us, hundreds of thousands of years ago, that existed and that had high technologies, a lot further ahead than we are right today, existing and thriving on planet Earth. And that gold and silver and gems and precious metal stones and so on, and all the wealth and all of that, the civilizations would die out, the cities would go to dust, be buried, Earth would have cataclysms, cleanse herself, and start over again. And this has happened several times. So you're looking at hundreds of thousands of years of accumulated wealth. Some of it's no longer here. It was taken off planet. But a lot of it's here. It's on the planet. Vast amounts. The point is being able to distribute it wisely. That's a key issue. And people don't understand that. See, they just think about the want. I want, the lack of, and wanting, and having things, and buying things, and wanting, and that's it gets confusing, because being responsible stewards of wealth is a key issue across the board. So someone who comes into a lot of wealth, what are they going to do with it? Well, I'm going to help others with it, and I'm going to learn how to do that. it's almost like you could open up a school teaching people how to help other people financially.
Exactly.
I mean, you could literally do that. You could call it the Help You University. And that's the confusion for everybody, see? I don't think anybody on this planet has to worry about lack of very shortly here. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think that people have preconceived ideas and notions that have been conveyed to them and shared with them that are not going to be the case with the hydration of the human race, which means poverty will be gone. That's the whole point of this. Releasing this wealth from heaven sent is to eliminate poverty on the planet and eliminate the idea of lack of, to keep structure and organization, to be in servitude with each other. And like I've said over and over again, more of a meritocracy, where you're just helping people every day and you're doing things you enjoy. You know, you aren't harming each other and you aren't harming the environment, and you're doing things you enjoy. Somebody having buckets and buckets and trillions of dollars isn't going to be able to do anything with that money because there's so much they'll never be able to spend it. It'll be just such a burden. And so there's a lot of, when you look at it from a sensible standpoint and a clear mind, you sit down and you say, let's look at this picture. Let's look at this financial structure. Is it feasible? Does it make sense? Okay. What are some of the ideas I can incorporate to help me disperse funds to people and help people? You know, and how much do I really need to be comfortable and live on?
My experience, and I'm sure everybody else is on the line, is we've been through a lot of hardship of lack, and I don't think there's a lot of people that have the heart to help people, and they see the suffering on the planet. So, the governments have never done anything to help anybody. So I'm glad heaven is deciding to let us have a shot at helping humankind.
That's where the buck stops, as you're probably very well aware, is that if you left this up totally to humanity and off-world beings, I don't know if it would ever get done. And that's just, common sense because of the conflict that a lot of people have, and egos, and, trying to make a decision, and, the ego is the biggest problem with people saying, I want this, I want that, and I want 50 trillion, 100 trillion, to 200,000 trillion. It's almost insanity when you hear people talk like that. And so heaven is in charge and directing the transition of the planet and the human race, and there's other beings that are going to be assistant and benevolent, assisting the human race. We're fairly young species of beings. We're not real old. There are some beings, like I've said, that have existed for trillions of years. The human race has only been a handful of 100,000, few 100,000 years. And probably about, I'd say 700,000, 750,000 years. And we've been kept in the dark. So you have an infancy civilization that's been lied to and kept in the dark forever will just start to be born, to come into their own, and realize that money and having things isn't a big deal. But it was created and shoved down the throats of humanity to like you said, to worry and, people suffering and having lack of, but distribution of the wealth, people will know. There will be certain people who will have wealth that will know what to do with it, and it will be to disperse to others in a responsible manner, in a structured format. And, the planet is in a massive shift unprecedented. And when you look at all the beings that are in our solar system that are watching this transpire, it's a big event. And I'm looking forward to the day when humanity looks at money as if it's, no big deal. Everybody has it. And I've repeatedly said that, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, is that's the only way. You can't do it through governments. You just can't. You can't do it through municipalities because there's too much embedded corruption, and it's everywhere. And it's been on this planet for thousands of years, and you can't just end it overnight. And so with the wave coming in and the dimensional shift, things are going to change across the board. People aren't going to look at things like they do right now in this third dimensional energy. It's not going to be the same. You're not going to. People won't value things like they value material things today. I mean, what are the key things for all of us? Have a clean place to live, okay? Clean, healthy food, right? Clothes to clothe ourselves, and doing what we love doing, and being in servitude of others. And that's pretty much that's it right there. Knowing no fear of having lack of anymore, not worrying about not having a roof over your head ever, and living happy and being happy from within yourself, and looking forward to every day that you meet with that day, because of the fact that you're being allowed to help others. You're helping others. You're doing what you enjoy doing. All of your worries and fears, for the most part, have been eliminated, because you don't worry about aging anymore. You don't worry about poverty anymore. You don't worry about sickness anymore. And what you do is you respect and honor yourself and take care of yourself, and you love and take care of others. I mean, doesn't that just ring? Doesn't the vibration of that just ring true to heart?
Absolutely. The only thing I'd add is I'd want one of those scooters you talk about where I can go to Paris and have dinner. Yes,
absolutely. Once people get used to that type of travel, I don't think it'll take long. But with the anti-gravitic scooters, you just, you get in them. There's no wheels. They create an artificial gravity bubble around them, so they float. You just get inside, and you tell the computer where you want to go. And the next thing you know, you disappear, and within a handful of minutes, you're in Paris, France. Period. Boom. No accident, no hitting anybody, no noise pollution.
Well, what happens if there's 500,000 scooters going to Paris, France?
They're built for detection, so there's just no way you're gonna beep into another one or smash into someone else. They read the velocity and the traveling paths of other units, so it will place you in an area where you're not in harm's way.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'll let you go, but one quick financial question I want to ask you. My friend was talking about the gold back situation with the yuan, and this thing's been, the financial community's been known about this for over 6 to 8 months.
Yep.
So basically, he said that today 70% of the energy transactions throughout the world is done in U.S. dollars, the petrodollar. He said when they open up shop to go gold back, that he said we're going to lose market share, overnight if we don't do something.
That's right.
So everybody knows about it, and they're not going to use the dollar anymore unless it's gold back. So
that's right.
I guess the only analogy I can put to it is that the bad guys who have caused all this chaos trying to get this thing going this is like the end for them because, that's their baby, the petrodollar. So
it cuts off their drug fix.
Right.
Yeah, it cuts them off. They don't have IVs anymore. They're cut off. The fiat system is the backbone of the bad guys. All right.
Well,
the new system. Once this new system kicks in, and we're on a gold-backed currency and a lot more transparency. So, in other words, if a bad guy tries to do something, like if they try to do something today, they can get away with it, but not. It's getting to the point where they can't anymore. But eventually, it'll be if they try anything, they're done. Doesn't matter. They're out the door.
Right. So they're. I mean, once this thing goes live, they're locked out of the new system unless they come to some agreement, right? I mean,
they come to an agreement, but it's guarded anyway because of the fact that the majority of them just can't change their ways. They're just. I mean, let's put it this way: you could have a banker that knows they're under surveillance, knows they're being watched, blatantly knows they're being watched the whole time they're operating within the bank, and yet still try to steal money. So that's like someone watching. That's like someone watching you steal money, but you're still going to steal the money. You're still going to try and steal it. That's how addicted these people are in the banking system.
Well, do you think the wave will help that?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I mean, that's like suicide. Because with the artificial intelligence of the quantum system, I mean, you're not going to be able to do anything. Money, launder money, hold money, do anything.
That's the idea. Yep, that's the idea. It's clean, and your money is your money. Period. And I have faith that I'll get my wish where money becomes so prevalent across the planet, the governments aren't hoarding it and lining their own pockets while the people suffer anymore, and the people now are receiving the wealth and receiving the distribution of wealth, and are doing. There's a lot of people, as you well know, that really want to do good things. They're committed. They're just absolutely committed. I've been told and heard stories and have met with people. They've bent over backwards to be totally dedicated and committed to these projects and things that they really want to carry out. They have to have the money to do it, and they will have the money to do it.
On the other side of this, I'm serious. I do want to develop a manufacturing facility for med beds in Texas. So
we want to get as many structured and controlled systems going to manufacture the anti-gravitic scooters, the med beds, the
0-point energy,
the 0-point energy structures. Yeah. We want to get. Because we got a lot of people to get that into the hands of. That's the whole point. And the quality control, the quality assurance, people taking really strong interest in getting these units out the door and safe and delivered so that we can start changing the planet. We can start changing the way people live for the better. We can aid the environment, help it. Get our organics out that will eat up all the polluted oil in the lands and everything, and rehydrate the soil and refurbish it. And start planting trees. And there's so many. We have deforested this planet by over 8 billion acres.
Yeah,
and if you look at how much 8 billion acres is, your mouth would drop in your lap. We've caused atmospheric changes. In the 6th century, we had an oxygen content in our atmosphere of 32%. Today, it's at 17%. And I try to tell people, all the money in the world, because you can't eat money,
right,
and everything else, we've got the oceans are dying, our coral reefs are being bleached out, our plankton is being decimated, and we wonder, and if this planet, if we don't refurbish and make this planet whole and heal, assist it in healing, because Gaia's going to heal herself. She always does, and she's going to cleanse herself as well. So we're going to have issues on the planet before everything's said and done. So.
Well, listen, I'll definitely get a hold of you on the other side of the RV for, I know you're getting a lot of emails, but as far as the med beds, I'm very anxious to sit down with you.
There'll be people that we'll do is we'll meet in groups. I'll fly. We'll make arrangements. I'll fly to them. We'll meet up. We'll sit down. We'll go over the structure. We'll go over the systems and a game plan put together. And get that game plan, and we pretty much have one where we can duplicate it and have people sit down and say, this is how we want to deploy this, this is what we need, here's the employee base. We want to hire people from the local area where the plants go up that are there, hopefully. We want to be able to get as many people employed in the local area as possible.
Sure.
So the jobs will be, we've lost track of the amount of jobs that we will have available to fill, and we're not talking about flipping burger jobs. So
right.
People being taken
care of. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on tonight, and I'll let someone else ask a question, but
welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Jared.
Okay, so we're going to ask you guys to be courteous to one another and not spend so much time sharing with Jared. Give other people an opportunity because it's a lot of people lighting up the queue. So please just, try not to take 20 and 30 minutes, please. It's not fair to everybody else.
And get your pens ready.
Okay. All right, here we go. Star 6.
Hey, Jared?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hey, hope all's good with you. I got a quick question. On the notion of the planet being overpopulated, being that we're hovering somewhere around 7 to 8 billion, my question is, based on the idea that the density of the population are in spots kind of throughout the entire globe. And I know I was doing some research on that, and there was a research that was brought forth that based on the population and the size of Texas in square footage, that you can actually fit the entire global population in the state of Texas, being that it's somewhere around 8 trillion square feet in terms of land mass. So everybody actually could not only fit in there, but actually would have a space of approximately 1,000 square feet around them. So, and I do grow vegetables and fruits and things, so just one seed itself can produce multitudes of seeds that can continue to feed on and on and on. I know we have different seasons. Can you comment on that in terms of how that comes into play where we are actually supposed to be overpopulated and that the planet cannot sustain that population size? And I'll bow out. Thanks again.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. That's the misconception for humanity, because they look around and they see all this open land, and they say it doesn't calculate with people that sit there and say, well, we can't be overpopulated. Look at all this open land. Look at all the national parks. Look at all this stuff, Look at the state of Texas, and look at how many people can fit in the state of Texas. And what you have to look at, and this is the key issue, is why we're overpopulated. It's the consumption of each human. It is the use of natural resources that we're talking about. So you've got dense populations scattered all over the world, and you've got all this open land and everything. But that open land isn't producing anything. It's not producing food. Not every square inch of the planet can produce food because of the climate, because of the soil, because of we need trees, we need forests. So there's only so much space that can afford. And consuming natural resources, you can only. I mean, right now we're at a breaking point with supplying food to the planet. Now, people don't care how food is produced, as far as animals and the cruelty and everything. I've seen what goes on with cows and chickens and on a large scale, and
right.
how animals are treated by humanity to feed the population. But when you look at vegetables and fruits and more vegetarian avenue, you've only got so much land to produce food, and you've got so much land to have people live on that land. Well, when they live on that land, they have to have a place to live, and that takes up space. So then when they have a place to live, then they consume. So you can look at one person, and they could consume 40 acres a year, one family. Some families can consume 300 acres a year. And so when you start looking at it from that perspective, you can start getting a clearer understanding of what we're talking about overpopulation. It's not so much taking up all the room on the planet. It's the consumption of the human race. And this planet was designed, if you look at the food consumption and you look at the population and you look at what we can exist on and survive and live, 6 billion is about the comfort range for population on the planet. And we're at about 7.8 billion. And now, yeah, because we've got all these technologies waiting in the wing, we can change a lot of that, because a lot of people can start going to other planets and living on other planets, and that's what's going to happen. That's the future of colonizing other planets. My parents' were from Earth or from Terra, and I was born on this planet type thing. And so that'll ease the population explosion here on planet Earth, and the technologies will ease consumption. But then people say, well, what if you had, the replicators and everything? Well, that's fine, but you still have growth in population. So you can't have so many people where you can only have 4 square foot per person. You'd have billions and billions of people on Earth. You'd use replicators, but you'd have nowhere to live, because the population would get so large that you'd run out of room, period. It's like if you take a cow or a horse, it's an acre and a half to feed that animal. It's an acre and a half of land that you have to have. And people think, well, a horse just takes up a corral and that type of thing. Consumption-wise of natural resources, that animal needs an acre and a half. So you can start getting the idea of what we're talking about here. And then when you start polluting things like the ocean, the air, the soil, and species of animals start dying off, and today we're losing 200 species are going extinct every day on this planet. 200 species of life, of forms of life. And humanity becomes, as the wave gets closer and closer, humanity is becoming more aware of the fact that we have to do things differerly. We've got to take care of one another, love one another. We have to respect one another. We don't harm each other anymore. We work in like I say, servitude. We serve each other. We don't harm each other. We don't harm the environment. We help and respect all life. And if you want a model of the direction of humanity, that's it. The new humanity, that's the direction. All of this money and everything is third-dimensional Earth. That's what it is. All of this wealth it's this attitude of having and buying and getting and having and buying and getting is third-dimensional energies. And with the wave coming in, it's going to shift a lot of that. Sure, there'll be people that'll hang on to it. That's pretty normal. But for the most part, I'm starting to digress here, but we'll get on the fact of the population of the planet. It all boils down to consumption of natural resources at this point, because if we had too many people, we'd all know it, because you'd have a person standing right next to you, and we'd be like sardines in a can. So next question.
Hey, Jared, can I ask a question?
Sure.
My question was about this. I've heard you talk about each human's going to have a teacher to explain everything to them. And my question is simply, are we going to know this person when we meet them? How are we to recognize? Are we going to recognize when we're being taught?
Some people believe that some of the mentors that people will know, will be familiar with. We talk about the veil dissipating and revealing a lot of things to the human race that they weren't able to see before or associate with. And you've heard speak of the higher self, the spirit guide. A lot of them will become visual and will be assisting each human on their adjustment, on their direction. So to answer your question, I believe that the majority of us will know the mentor.
Okay.
Some won't. Some won't. I don't think Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm just wondering, I mean, you said this is going to be people we know. Are they just going to come out of nowhere and start dropping this stuff?
Well,
and kind of blowing our minds a little? Cause
no, that's what they want to stay away from, freaking people out. They want the transition to be easy and adjustable for each human. So we're going to be in crystal light chambers for a period of a couple, somewhere, some of us will be in there a few days, some of us will be in there longer to the physical adjustment. Like I said, we're going from a carbon base to a crystalline base. So there's going to be a lot going on, but it's not going to be a race. So the mentorship, people will know and understand that the majority of us have had past. I mean, we've incarnated here more. Most have incarnated here way more times than just one time. And so we've met people, we've had people in our lives, we've been male, we've been female, we've been old, we've been young, we've been different skin colors, we've been just about everything. So along the way we meet those people, and some of those people become our spirit guide in agreement when we're on the other side. So when you meet, when the veil has lifted and it's dissipated enough, where you actually can see other beings that in the etheric realm, but now you can see while you're in the physical realm. Oftentimes people have seen them, etheric, have heard them whisper in their ear or talk in their ears, because the veil has been so thick and heavy and kept that from us. And what is the veil? The veil is a barrier designed to keep us from much knowledge, to keep us from a lot of the things that we know when we're on the other side. But in the physical realm, we are kept from knowing. So does it make sense to you that if you incarnate here on Earth and you have a life, you have a family and everything, you make mistakes and so on and so forth. So then you pass and you go back to the etheric life, because we're all immortal. We leave these bodies and we go to the other side and we continue on. We never really, quote unquote, die. We just change form. So if you leave that life and you go to the other side and then you decide you want to come back without being forced and you incarnate back, your memory's zapped. You have some memory. It's a proven fact that a child from the age of 5 to 7 loses the memory. But a lot of kids I've talked with, 3, 4, and I ask them the question, can you tell me about the life you had before this life? And it's amazing what some of them will say. And a lot of the things that come out of them, there's no way they would know it unless they had remembered. I had one little boy tell me that, yeah, I can tell you what happened. I got shot in the neck. I was walking. I got in between a gunfight. I was walking across the street,
and I got shot in the neck and died. And that's what this little boy told me. And so, but when you get a certain age, you forget about it. You totally forget. Doesn't it make sense, though, that if you incarnate and you live a life and then you come back, you should have the knowledge of that life so that you don't make the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. And that's the knowledge that we should have with ourselves. That's the awareness that we carry as we accumulate life experiences over and over again on this planet. But they've been blocked on purpose. So it was like we're in a mad, vicious circle that we keep living these lives. And some people say, well, we're supposed to perfect. We're to perfect for the Creator, for Prime Source Creator God. But to have a memory and to have a knowledge to draw upon, imagine how valuable that would be. Imagine to be able to draw on that vast knowledge base that you have experienced as a spirit and incarnating these different lifetimes, and how valuable that would be to humanity, that all of us had that ability. See? And that's one of the things that's been kept from us. Now, when this veil dissipates with the wave and it becomes clear and there's no barrier, we're going to be able to do those things. You know, we won't just be trapped here. We'll be able to go other places, visit, you know, and that's exciting. I mean, that's a good thing. But I think hopefully I answered your question.
I guess if I could ask one more quick one, have any of these teachers begun interacting with us yet, or is that something that's going to happen after the show?
I've had some people tell me that they've had some beginning communication. So, very private.
Okay.
So I think that it's beginning, and it's going to just pick up speed and accelerate. It'll be a soft transition, so it's not going to alarm people.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, Jared.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. I have 3 questions. You know, the tachyon-only med bed, is it of benefit?
Yeah, it heals the body.
Okay.
It's probably pretty good. It's probably a good idea. I think there's only like 3 or 4 or 5 here in the States, but it's a good idea to have more than one session, and I think the average session lasts about 20 minutes.
Okay.
But it's good to get probably 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions.
Okay. And my next question, you know, in the med bed that can take you back to like age 28, when you go back to that age, do you begin to age again?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not immortalized. Your body will start aging again.
Okay. And my last question, I missed, and a couple of other people I know missed, like the first of your meditations. So we missed out on how to build the sphere and the vortex. Could you explain that, please?
When you're going into your heart center, which is your center heart chakra, where you go to connect with your higher self, and the vortex basically is a cone, and you're in the center of the cone, and you create this appearance-wise. So it's like you walk into a room, it's cylindrical, and your higher self is in the room but seated and being very still and quiet. And as you create this vortex as you open the door and walk into the room, the vortex is created in a swirling pattern of the golden, white, pink light shimmering and sparkling all the way around you and above you. So as you visualize this, and as this light comes in, and you're with the higher self that you've decided you're going to join the higher self, so you are combined in that vortex of golden, white, pink light of Prime Source Creator God, which is unconditional love. And you are housed in that vortex, everyone, until you actually join arms and float up to above the planet, and then we go into what the purpose of the meditation is.
Now, the sphere, you have mentioned we built the sphere in the beginning. Could you explain that? Are you talking about Mother Earth?
Well, no, we create a sphere kind of like a cloud of energy, which comes from our heart centers, from our higher selves, and we energize the sphere, which then brings the rain down on humanity of the golden, white, pink light. So the sphere is always there, like a sentinel. So that is marks it. So we float up and we look above, and there's the sphere. That's not Earth. That's not Earth.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate all you do.
You're very welcome.
Jared?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Jared, I was going to ask you, the light chamber, how long would it be before we access into the light chamber to be carbonized and stuff like that?
You want to state that again, that question again?
The light chamber, when we go into the light or crystal chamber or something, what the guy mentioned, you mentioned also that we would be like changed out into the carbon light or something. I think I'm correct on that, am I?
You're talking about going into the light chambers?
Yes.
You go in, you lay in them, and the door closes, and you're in there in almost like a hibernation state for a couple days, 2-3 days or more. Depends on each human.
Will that change our DNA back to what we're supposed to be, or what?
Yeah, it'll restructure the body from a carbon base to a crystalline base.
Okay. When will that occur? Afterward? How long? A timeline base. I'm just saying.
Well, when the wave engulfs humanity,
right,
as it's on its way, that we're being affected by the fringes of the wave, and it will affect every single thing on planet Earth. So it's not like, it's not going to affect some people and it'll affect others, but it's going to affect everybody. And so when the wave actually spreads in, flows in, we will immediately be changed. Our attitudes, our ideas, our emotions, our feelings will. In other words, as they say, as the smoke clears, as the fog clears away, we will have a different perspective, so to speak, and our vision will get clearer. Our awareness will become clearer. Our comprehension will be accelerated. We'll have different abilities that maybe we had little things in the beginning, little light areas here and there that will be accelerated and enhanced. It'll be a whole an attitude of peace, prosperity, harmony, love, appreciation, compassion. Those are the emotions that will take effect. And a lot of the things that we felt were important will no longer really be that important to us.
Right. Okay.
We'll have just a different direction.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Hey, Jared. Bill Monahan here.
Okay, Bill.
I have like 100 questions, but one, my old mentor, Dr. Wynn Parker, do you know of him by chance?
Sounds familiar. I can't say that I'm aware or know him or know of him.
Yeah, he was on RBN on Sundays in the afternoon and had a clearance apparently higher than president and did a lot of things on the radio, but all of a sudden mysteriously disappeared, never told John Stadtmiller, who was, owns that station, nothing, just gone. And he was such a good guy that turned down the lease to move into the underground hotels in Denver and that kind of stuff. So I figured he must be on your side. He's trying to do the right thing, and that's why he left. He's working for us. And anyway,
sometimes we've had to go step out of the limelight, step out of the awareness, so that we can do other things quietly. When you draw too much attention, you know there's things that take place.
Yeah, he's was working on a lot of stuff. He said that there's 150 Plum Island type facilities in the United States right now, and and a lot of other things, like the Pope was going to try and take over the world in 2018, and about the cosmic war and outer space, and how the Air Force is getting ready for Star Wars back then. So I was hoping that meant that they were getting ready to take on the Dracos and helping, the light side.
There's a separation, and it's a real detailed, delicate separation. And the separation is that, unfortunately, a lot of humans get sucked into the theater, the movie. They're no longer a spectator, but they're actually participating in it and not aware of it. And the construct of this planet and the structure of humanity involves the application of deception. And so, like when you're watching a movie and you really get into that movie, you almost feel like you're in it. The special effects are great. When someone dies, you swear they're dead, they died. Mm-hmm. Someone gets a blown off limb, it looks so real that it's just, all of it. It's just spectacular, fake movie. That's what's happened, and that's what the dark agenda has created on planet Earth. A movie that has mesmerized and enticed humanity to not be the spectator, okay, but to be involved in the movie, to buy into the movie, and to believe a lot of these things that are leaked out there on purpose. And I always share with people, watch the movie, have your popcorn, but know the separation between the movie and the reality. And a lot of people have lost that. They don't have that. They don't know that. They don't know they're in a movie, that they're actually in the movie and not watching the movie. And that's why you see all of these things happening, and you see them more and more, and they're being revealed because the veil is lifting. Their protection, the dark agenda's protection, is leaving them, and they're being exposed. They are desperate and their arrogance level is super high, and they are trying to do everything they can to keep control of the human race and to be in charge of everything. There can't be anything left out of their reach. They've got to have everything. And it is an insatiable type of a draw that they can't quench. They can't quench the thirst. They're just not able to. So people should stay out of the movie. If you're in it, get out of it.
What about the QAnon movie? They're telling us that, they're watching planes go in and out of Cuba, Guantanamo Bay, and things are happening, which kind of hooks up with what you're talking about, on Twitter, following those people. What about those guys?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. That's not to say there isn't a lot going on. There's a lot of movement going on. There's a lot of activity. There's not going to be a nuclear desolation of the planet. That's out of the question. That's not going to happen. So people should just forget about that. Concentrate on peace, love, and joy, and not anger, not frustration, and get away from that type of third-dimensional thinking, and do everything they can to think in the direction of peace and prosperity for everyone, loving and caring for one another, and commit to that direction without breaking away and going back to the old ways of hate, deception, manipulation, disrespect, that type of thing. But there's a lot of activity going on in Earth and the solar system, and a lot of war going on, a lot of galactic space war. It's the end times for the dark forces, is what it is. Now, they want everybody to believe in their movie that they're in control and they're getting ready to tighten the noose and everybody's going to be under their control and putting up surveillance towers and controlling the internet and, spying and everything. All of the constructs that they've put together will melt away. It's just inevitability. It's their time's over. They have had their time forever.
Right.
It's always
they sprayed in New Jersey, yesterday, the chemtrails, and they got all the towers up all over that they're like electrifying everybody with their frequencies. And I'm hoping that when I stop seeing the chemtrails up in the sky, I know that, we're really on our way to winning.
What has been created will now be uncreated.
Amen.
So, all of this stuff, it's good that people are aware of it. The more people that are aware of it, the better. But you got to watch the level of anger, because they like that, and they want to feed off of that, and they want to get humans angry and upset and constantly in conflict and fearful. They want that fear as well. They want to keep that pumping as much as possible. That's what gives them their power. That's right. What gives them power, feeding off of us. So when you become cognizant to that, you say, well, then I'm not going to give them any loosh or energy. I'm not going to give them that. I'm going to be the opposite. I'm going to be caring and loving, and I'm going to be attentive, and I'm going to start looking for who I can assist and who I can help, and who I can serve. How may I serve you will be the new line and the new address for humanity. How may I serve you? Because we all know one thing, that the dark agenda's attitude is self-destruction. That's the bottom line. If we weren't here and it was just the dark, they would end up consuming this planet, destroying it, going to another planet, doing the same thing, and never stop. It's just constantly destroying. We are creators. We are of the light. We will create peace, harmony, love, joy. And that's where people are gravitating towards, the more, and awaking every day. And there's been a lot of activity. There's been a lot of downed spaceships. There's been on different planets. There's the war, the secret space program, the elites living off planet, trying to leave the planet, can't leave the planet. The jump gates have all been shut down. They can't get out. They're done. They're finished.
Right.
So they're running around scurrying, trying to hold on to what power they've got left. Because I'll put it this way, if they were in full power, if they had full control like they used to, the surface of this planet would have been scorched.
Right.
There wouldn't be any life on the surface of Earth.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I'll let somebody else get in. Thank you very much for talking to me. I appreciate it. I really do.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good evening, Jared.
Yes.
Could you touch on that subject that you were just on a little bit more? I know I used to run around and read and watch all this stuff, all this propaganda that's put out there, and I realized that we are creators, and what we look at and what we believe in and what we input in our heads become a reality, and that if we quit focusing on that and focus on the new paradigm that's coming at us, that we would make all this happen a whole lot sooner. Could you touch on that, please?
Absolutely. Well said. When the human race is conditioned to think a certain way, react a certain way, be a certain way, both in emotionality, what happens is that then they've got them controlled. So it's like a bunch of rats in a maze. You're controlled. You're told what to do, when to do it, and not realize that that's what's happening. And you get angry. You get frustrated. You get violent. You get hateful. You get greedy. You get deceptive. You become manipulative. All of these things. And that's exactly what the dark wants from you. And you forgetting of your creation, that you are a creator, that you're a co-creator with the source of all that there is and all that there ever will be, the God. You're part of the God. So you're a co-creator. So you create things. So you create things by how you think and feel. Your heart center, your higher self. It's right through the center of your heart. It's a deep connection to your spiritual higher self. Your mind, they try to control your mind. They try to control your emotions because they know that once you become aware, then they've lost you. They can't get you. And so they keep you in that muckiness, in the goop. And once you realize that, wait a minute, I'm a creator. I can think and feel things into being. And you can. And I know a lot of you have known this, but have you ever noticed that when you run after things, when you run after them, when you really, 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 really want something, and you're doing everything in your power, working your fingers to the bone to try to get it, it evades you. It stays just far enough ahead of you where you can't grasp it, where you cannot get it, and it drives you nuts. Some people spend their whole lives chasing things. I got to have it, I got to have it, I got to have it. It almost becomes an obsession. And, some people have destroyed their lives because of this one thing that they have to have, they have to have it. And when we realize, and these are key bells going off, is that you're a co-creator, you're loved unconditionally, and you can co-create anything you desire. And by servitude, everything is placed in harmony. When you serve others without how you would say it, without expecting return, okay? When you just say, I'm out to serve others, how may I serve you or how may I help you? And get into that mode, you will find your life will transform. It will automatically. It'll transform. See, a lot of us get caught up, like I said, in the movie. We're sucked into the movie. So we forget about the fact that we're co-creators. We get frustrated and say, that stuff doesn't work. It's blah, 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 blah. And we're intermittent. We're in and out. We're intermittent. We aren't consistent with things. So we just kind of throw it away. Forget it. And we get sucked into the movie. We're into the movie, and we're being manipulated, and we're back over there with the dark agenda and what they want us to do. So when you know and you realize and you become clear that you're a co-creator and you're here to serve, your whole life will change, and everything that you really desire will come into being. But not when you chase it, not when I got to have this, I got to have that. That's why there's so many miserable people, because they're so frustrated. It's like they're having a tug of war with a rope. You can't, and neither of you are making any ground or moving anywhere. And it doesn't seem to be progressing. And by feeling and thinking, that combination, not just thinking, but feeling and thinking, using that heart, that emotion, that feeling, the higher self, the deep inside, the inner self, your connection with who you really are, as a God-loved spirit of much power and much creation, then you change. You begin to realize this stuff's not important. Because when you serve others, you're serving yourself. And a lot of people have a tough time with that, because they're so burdened and they're so loaded down, and they've got all of these things that have stressed them out and striked them down and beaten them up. And if they only knew that if they put their faith in God the Creator, and they were able to make the transition and not worry and fear and stress and start being in servitude to others, everything would change. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. And here's a question for everybody. How many people do you think, there's a boat, the boat's in the water, it's a river, there's a current. Now, your choice is this. You can get in the boat, but the boat has no oars. You're going to let the river, the current of the river, take you wherever it goes, and have faith that it will be a good destination. That's life. That's how we're designed. Now, most people wouldn't do that because they get scared and frightened. Well, what if I hit a rock? Or what if I do this? Or, what if something happens and I get injured or something? All these negative things rush in. Instead of having the faith, it stops them from flowing. Have you ever tried to plan a bunch of things and none of it ever works out? You wonder why. The universe is speaking. You go with the flow. You just kind of go with it and have faith in it. And people say, well, that's easier said than done. But the fact of the matter is that that's how we're really designed. We're not in this control bowl like a bowl of fish that swim in a circle all the time and never get anywhere. We are supposed to expand and learn and absorb and love each other, respect each other, and work in harmony. And that's what a lot of humans have a problem with, where they become interrupted, where they become affected, where they're shut off, or they shut themselves off out of anger, not understanding things, where they feel like they've never gotten a fair shake or a fair. You see, these things continue on their mind and their hearts, and it confuses them and it stresses them out. It makes them be, all disheveled. And instead of concentrating and focusing on your heart self, your inner self, your mind, feeling and understanding that everything is good for you and it will be good for you. And if you just allow it to happen, most of the times, if you could say this to yourself, do you fight yourself? How many times do you fight yourself? If you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, well, I got to do something about my body. My health isn't that great, and if I don't start doing something about it, something's going to happen. But you never get off. You're never able to do that. It just never happens. And the guilt comes in. And then all of this other stuff, and you become weighted down and heavy. You ever notice if some of you own a lot of things or you have a lot of stuff and you buy stuff and it feels good for a short period of time and it's gone. And you feel heavy, you feel burdened. You got maintenance for this, you got to take care of that, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to have a place to store it. And a lot of times, people buy houses to put their stuff. And then they run out of room and they buy another house so that they can put more stuff. And most of the stuff they never use. And it just sits there. That's why the Chinese economy became so well off, because the American people kept buying their plastic stuff. You keep buying stuff. And that's what the controllers of humanity want. Buy. Stay in debt, be in debt, lack of. There's not enough of this, there's not enough of that. See? And it's amazing how many people in this financial transition are worried that there's not going to be enough. Not going to be enough. See? Because you're conditioned forever. That's breaking the bond with the dark agenda and out of the control factor and coming into the light when you don't even realize you're not in the light. And you come out into the light and you realize that, hey, wait a minute, there's a whole new world here. I like this world. I can do what I enjoy doing. I'm not under a whip and chains. I don't feel burdened. If you feel burdened, it's time to get light. You know, if you feel stressed or you feel like you can't, there's nowhere to turn, that's when you go within. That's when you sit and you become silent, and everybody can do it. And you become silent and you go deep within your heart center. You will meet your higher self. The comfort you will feel will be off the charts. It is just fabulous, the emotion and the feeling that you get when you do that. And I've had a lot of people say to me, well, I just know where to turn, I don't know what I'm going to do. I tell them to do that. And it's amazing what transpires. We have to love we not have to. It's built into us to love ourselves. And the majority of humanity does not love itself because of all of the things that have been perpetrated upon us. Without the knowledge, without the knowing. Knowledge is power, ignorance is evil. And so the controllers of this planet have controlled humanity long enough, and we're going to come into the light. We're going to progress. Galactic wave is headed in. We're going to go into the light. We're going to love each other. We're going to love ourselves. We're going to respect all life on this planet. And we are going to accelerate as co-creators.
Jared?
Yes.
It's Lynn here, and I hope I don't come across as being picky. I've just been struggling with a word you have used, and I think based on the context of it, it doesn't mean at all what it actually means. Servitude. It means slavery or bondage, and I'm sure that isn't what you meant. Do you have another word you could use?
Yeah, sometimes words come in when things are coming in and they get kind of miscombobulated.
Okay.
And I'm not aware of it. They just come in. And so there's certain things like servitude, slavery, and so on and so forth. When you choose in slavery, okay, the word slavery, when you are enslaved, you're told what to do, okay? Which means that you are forced to serve your master.
Right.
You're literally forced to serve because you're being told by your master, and that's your master that's telling you. So you either do it or you're punished. That's servitude and slavery. Serve. Now understand there's a play on words on this planet, and the so-called dictionaries and everything, that not all of them are correct. So, and I'm here to tell you that because that's the truth, because a lot of the words have been twisted. So when I say, now, if you said that to people and they took that literally, then they would believe that how may I serve you would be that you're acting as a slave to another. It would be misconstrued that way if you explain it that way to people on the word servitude. So when I have information come in, it comes from the highest source, and so the words get a little bit miscombobulated. But if I were to say to you, Lynn, are you going to serve others? Would you look at that as slavery?
No.
How would you look at that?
Well, as a service to others, which is voluntary.
Okay, and not wanting anything in return.
Right.
What is actually serving others really, and what does it mean?
Giving of yourself to them for what they need.
Because you love yourself, and they are part of you.
Yes, right.
You love yourself, and they are part of you, so therefore you love them. You want them to be comfortable, happy, and joyous. So it's like certain words that come out. There's a couple of words that I'll use that come out that are
kind of misconstrued like servitude and stuff. I guess it boils down to on how people perceive it. But when you're talking in the context of serving others, because part of you and you love them and they love you and you're helping them, you're assisting them, I guess I could shift the words so that the dictionary is correct and I'm wrong.
Well,
but in our language,
I wasn't misunderstanding what I didn't misunderstand what you were trying to say. So perhaps I shouldn't even have brought it up. But
no, I appreciate it.
Are you able or willing to name the source of the information which seems to flow to you?
It comes from the highest source that there is. It comes from the Godhead. It comes from God Creator.
Thank you.
Yep.
I yield.
Hello, Jared.
Yes.
Hi. I am so blessed to finally get to talk to you. I think you're amazing in your inspired presentation, and the information is just totally aligns to what I've been thinking about for many years myself. So, but I've recently had I've had 2 emergencies in this month, and I'm really interested in. I'm not interested in doing what they want me to do. I'm more interested in doing what you've talked about with the med beds and the different technologies, but I'm not sure about the timing. It seems to be somewhat uncertain as to whether I need to go and get invaded by invasive surgeries and all kinds of dust stuff like that, or I can wait, or what would be the time frame that is possible that I could count on, or is that still vague? Is that humanity not ready for it, or are we ready? And so I just was wanting some guidance and an inspired message from you and your divine connection.
Well, I believe that it in a lot of the ways it's up to humanity, and I'm a servant, and I serve, and I'm here to serve as much as I can. So I'm a messenger, and so humanity is in a position to intend. And I think that a lot of humanity doesn't realize that the more of humanity that it intends this change, that invites the visitation of other beings that are benevolent, to meet with them, to be open and loving and caring for this whole thing to move forward at an accelerated rate. I think that humanity has become so reliant on things being done for it that it has atrophied on its own belief that it is the solution to the majority of the problems. That humanity can intend things to transpire, and in large enough intention, it will transpire. And because of the fact that they've been kept in the dark for so many millennia, and because of the fact that they are in a kind of a void, if you will, confused, not sure of things, and when you're not educated or informed, you're ignorant to many things. So you have missing pieces to the puzzle. So it becomes very frustrating. It's like everybody's saying, when are these people going to get this done, and when is this going to happen? And you only believe what you want to believe. That's across the board. Humanity will believe what it wants to believe. I've talked to some people, and they're steadfast on certain things they believe, and that you leave it alone. That's what they believe. That's what they're going to believe.
but a collective intention to make things different, to change things, to believe in those changes is part of the co-creation process, and to have that done. If we spent our time intending collectively as a civilization, we would not be having this conversation right now.
So, Jared, what do you suggest I do on a practical level? I have to make some decisions, and I don't really want to go to a bunch of cultist medical system to get my body back to a better place where I can get at it, be able to go outside and not have to be stuck on a bed. And but funny that I call it the bed, but this technology, the medbed technology, and the which has been brought about, has been discussed a lot. I'm not sure if I should, what direction I should go in on a practical sense. I understand the philosophy of it.
It depends on what your physical condition is what it depends on. The technologies start flooding in here before the year's out, but that may not be the right time for you. You may not be able to wait that long. See? So, I mean, it's how you feel about if you've got illness and your body needs help and assistance, then, and you don't want to go into the witch doctory of the allopathic system, then you seek out naturopathic, Ayurvedic, those applications that are kind to your body, that are helpful to your body, that won't harm the body, that won't break it down further.
Yeah, well, I am doing that now, but there's certain things that are not available from the natural perspective. It's some of it's structural, and some of it is definitely that. So I lived a very healthy lifestyle. It's just that there's a part of my body. I actually have been a vegan for many years, and it's just that some things occurred, and I didn't really pay attention to it. And these are common issues that most men have, and so I'm just kind of I'm in a tight spot because I did at some point in time not pay attention to certain things, and I guess I'm living the results of when you just kind of take things for granted, and you're dealing with helping people, which I do, and I forgot to love myself enough to take care of whatever it is that's going on now. So I put myself in a pickle, and I totally believe in natural healing and in non-allopathic approach, because that is almost like I think it's a cult, basically, allopathic medicine. And so I was wondering to know what some markers are as to the timing of when these amazing technologies, medbed, the holographic bed, or whatever, I think you said it atomizes you to release everything or change everything back to its divine nature. Is that true, or its original blueprint?
Reatomization.
Yeah. So I feel that another thing is I feel that what I'm going through is something that is giving me an extreme level of compassion, which I think that humanity has been having a hard time with because of a lot of the pain and suffering that goes on. It's not easy to have that level of forgiveness and pain and compassion. I know what it feels like to be in the most severe pain you could possibly have, and it's like, I don't know that everyone in the world has to go through that, but I don't think that, pain and suffering is necessary, like you say. So I'm just wanting to get some bearings on this, maybe some things to hope for, and then maybe I can maintain myself without them chopping me up and causing me more problems than I need. That's what I'm talking about. And I just wanted to see where do you think humanity's at now, and where do you feel we're at in reference to bringing this technology to people from a practical perspective, that people can actually have access to it rather than just thinking of it as an idea that's out in the future somewhere?
It'll start coming out this year.
This year. So how would I sign up for that type of thing?
Well, what'll happen is that it's you can't just wave your hand and everybody be conscious of these technologies. We have over 7 billion people on the planet. There's forms of distribution. You've got to get access to it. You can't do it magically. It's like poof, there it is in your living room. Go for it. So we have to distribute. We have to be able to get it to the right places, get it to the people that need the cures, that need to be healed.
Wow.
And if you put it out there and then having people believe it, having people actually comprehend that this technology exists and that it is applicable, it works, and then having people trust. We've done a lot of talking to people. Would you feel safe in getting into something like this and having it reatomize your body, and you've got new limbs and new organs and everything, and you're younger and you feel you're healthy, you got a new body, and people say, I don't know, that's scary. See, you got all these emotional factors involved and stuff. So, there's intricacies involved in getting it into the public, and safely to the public, and to get the bed to the certain areas where you can treat so many million of people, because there's a lot of sick people on this planet. And, and to also keep it under control so that people don't get carried away and we have a stampede. There's so many different factors involved with getting these things safely to humanity, to get them out there. The Galactics have a plan to treat several million in the first year. And these beds get out there.
Are you talking about
this year?
2018. Now,
this year.
Is the med bed that you're talking about uniquely only its own thing, or are there other people doing things similar to what you're doing, or are you the only one that's doing it?
No, there's other groups on the planet that have been contacted to help with the distribution of the bed. There's a holographic imaging technology bed. There is a reanimation bed. There are different versions of these applications, different technology.
Is there a way to go on the internet? To get more information about what each of these will do that's different from each other?
Oh, you're not going to be able to type into Google and have a blueprint show up and have a scientific evaluation of all the intricacies of the bed. That won't happen.
Well, how do I sign up for at least getting involved with that so I can help myself and others?
Send an email to my email address. We are onelightforall@gmail.com.
Okay. And is the atomizing bed the more intricate one, where it's more? I think I heard something about you use the DNA of the person to work the technology?
The DNA takes a fingerprint of the DNA of the person that's going to get into the bed, and it's combined with a computer and a database, and it's involving plasma energy along with tachyon energy. What it does is it relies on the actual memory of the physical body. Memory when you were born and you had all your limbs and you were healthy and everything, and you became an adult before the body started deteriorating. And it's refurbished and regenerated, anatomically correct,
from the standpoint, if you've lost limbs, those are reanimated, regenerated. Everything is renewed in the body. Even if you have an organ that's gone, the body keeps a memory. It's a proven fact. I mean, you can have a memory of that organ even though the organ's gone. You can have pain where that organ once was. The body keeps a blueprint memory of everything in your body. All the limbs, all of the phalanges, everything. And when you lose something, what the reatomizer does is it sweeps over the body, and it shows, just like on an MRI, it gives the internal structure of the body in three-dimensional format, and it shows the entire script of the body. And then it literally will ask you if you want a total full reatomization, redo of the body, or you just want this one area taken care of. And the next thing you know, you're in a deep sleep. The process begins, and within 2 to 3 minutes, it's over.
Does it eliminate any unnatural things in your body? Or, in other words,
any foreign elements that have been put in the body are atomized out.
So, in other words, it atomizes everything and dissolves the unnatural or the whatever materials they're using that are not natural to out into some other space or other dimension or something? Where does the materials that are not natural to a human body, where do they go to?
Foreign elements are atomized. They're eliminated. They're flushed out of the system. They're disintegrated. If you understand plasma energy, everything's plasma. It just takes on different forms.
I know, I've heard that, and I'm still trying to integrate the idea of everything is energy, but then you're saying everything is plasma energy, or just everything is plasma?
Everything in this space, in our solar system, in the universe, is plasma energy. It's formulated in different shapes, sizes, different planets, stars, moon. It's all everything is plasma energy, and it all vibrates at different frequencies.
So is it based on the frequency of the plasma?
There's about 700 people on the line. Make this your last one, okay?
I can't go into
really. Come on, man.
I can't go into a dissertation for 3 hours on the med bed. There's other people that would, I'd love to do that for you, but I can't.
No, I just wanted to, see what was going on. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry about holding up.
You're welcome.
Traffic.
Hi, Jared. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Everything's good. Just a quick question, Jared. I'm here in Scottsdale, Arizona, and out here is where Ted Williams' frozen brain and head is. Will he have any chance of coming back when this med bed stuff comes out?
I don't believe so.
So a guy, if he were to die now and do that, freeze himself and that thing, he still has no chance.
Well, actually, when you cryogenically slow the body and the person's still alive, the idea is that to bring them back alive when you have a cure for whatever the problem is, whatever the disease, and if you sever the head and you just have the head in cryogenic freeze, you're going to have to wait a long time because, I'll give you an example. The spirit leaves the body. And the longer the spirit is away from that body, okay, the less chances are it's going to come back in. People don't talk about that. See, they just look at the physical aspect of the body.
Sure.
But our higher self is inside us, and it's what causes the body to function. When this body doesn't function anymore, we leave it, and it shuts down completely.
Right. But what I was thinking is his DNA is still in his head. Correct?
Yeah, you could probably, and I'm not absolutely sure, but you could probably use a crystal, a chamber. There's a crystal chamber that can be used where it brings people back to life.
Okay.
This is separate from the med bed. Separate.
Okay.
It'll bring people back to life. So, it depends on how long they have been dead.
So what I'm saying is, does that not give Ted Williams hope?
Possibility.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
So that possibility is there. Okay, I don't want to take up much time. It's a quick question. Thank you. You're fantastic.
Right.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jared?
Yes.
This is Dottie in Indiana. And
yes.
This is the first time I have come alive on the call, but I just want to make sure that I state that I have appreciated and loved every time you've been on this call, and so much gratitude to Dr. WC for providing the platform. The thing I wanted to ask about was, to step back just a little bit, is our original 13th Amendment, didn't it have that involuntary servitude shall not exist?
Slavery should not exist.
Well, the original 13th Amendment that we had stated as involuntary servitude.
Involuntary.
Yeah, involuntary servitude shall not exist.
Yeah. And what do you see around you? The very thing that should not exist exists.
Yeah. Well, they made sure of that because that's where it spoke about too the titles of nobility that nobody in position would be hold a title of nobility. So they did something with that. I think it was burnt or something. They started a fire in D.C. something in one of the villages where that was housed. So therefore, it seems like not a soul knows much about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have been kind of snubbed out.
Yeah.
Okay, well listen.
Okay, that just popped in my mind a while ago when you all were speaking about servitude. So just wanted to make sure I thank you for everything you've done. I've just thoroughly enjoyed you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Jared?
Hello.
Jared?
We got somebody talking in the background. And
we have 3 people.
This is Roger. I can wait.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you, Roger.
Bless you.
Jared, I have 3 quick questions. I'll give them to you all in sequence, and you can answer. That way I'll get off the call.
Do my best.
I'm sorry?
Do my best.
Okay. The first is the wave. Will we be able to see it coming, such as brighter colors coming towards it as it approaches us? No. The second question is, as we go into crystalline form, do we eat? Do we sleep? Do we have the same functions as a carbon-based human? Do we have illnesses?
Illnesses will be eliminated and operate similarly as you did in carbon base. You kind of look at it as that you're going to be totally refurbished, and the vibrational frequency is going to increase. So you physically will exist in a different space. All right? Others, and again we're talking about the inner self, the heart self, others who have clung on to third dimensional vibrational frequency will hang on to it. They won't advance they won't be ready to go into the fifth dimensional vibrational frequency. So they'll stay in the third dimensional and hold on to it, because that's when we talk about people will be afraid of change, and they'll have too much apprehension, and so they'll feel more comfortable staying in third dimensional frequency. So you will exist in fifth dimensional frequency. Others will exist in third dimensional frequency. You will exist in fifth dimensional earth. It's a different exposure, a different existence than what people experience in third dimension. So, and the only way to describe it is for people to experience it, because it's very difficult to try to describe that to somebody. Because if they've never experienced it before, it's really hard for them to comprehend what that exactly means. It just means you'll exist in a different plane of existence. You will not be in the goopiness of third dimensional Earth. When you start seeing things change, what you're seeing now on this planet, it means that the frequencies have accelerated. I mean, it's apparent. You can look up the Schumann resonance of the planet, and you'll see that it's gone way high, several times higher than it was 10 years ago. And this is all changing. The fringes of the galactic wave are hitting us now, affecting all of us, whether some are aware of it, some are, some aren't. We're going to be entering in fifth dimensional frequency a pattern of great peace and prosperity and love and kindness, and all of these things will start flooding in, and we'll start transitioning. Those of us who are able to let go, to go with the flow, to have faith in our Creator, to have faith in God and go with the flow, so that we exist in this new time, this new existence, and we move forward. Now, does that mean the people in third dimensional frequency are doomed? No. When they become aware enough to transition, they'll be able to transition and go to the fifth dimension. So it's not like anybody will be left behind. It's our choice. If you're ready, you'll go. That's why everybody's going to have a mentor, so to adjust and understand and to educate them and to get rid of the ignorance across the board, so that people can start comprehending and understanding exactly what's happening. So understand vibrational frequency, Understand what that means. It means that you're a substance that can constantly be changing and vibrating to different existences. That's why Smarty, when he puts together the holographics, it's vibrational frequency that can heal, that can cure diseases. You do all kinds of wonderful things. Create peace and harmony and love and compassion, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a shift in the vibrational frequency of your physical form and everything around you. So that's the best I can do there.
So in that dimension, the fifth dimension, will we be able to be united with our loved ones that went before us? Will we be able to connect with those people?
You're supposed to be able to see them all. See them all. Ooh. They're around you anyway. Them, huh? What will happen is that you'll be able to see them, not only feel them.
That'll be so awesome.
Yeah, then you can see the bliss and the happiness and the joy that's on the horizon for humanity. Totally contrary to what they want, what the dark agenda wants everybody to believe. Doom and gloom, doom and gloom, doom and gloom. When we're actually headed towards peace, prosperity, love, helping each other, joy. That's where we're headed.
So they're able to go past the veil right now. You said they're around us all the time.
Oh, they're around us.
By this veil?
They're always around us. It's just that because of the frequencies, we can't see them most of the time. But as the veil's getting lighter and lighter, we're seeing more and more things, and eventually you'll start seeing your loved ones. You'll see them all. It was like, sitting on the couch talking. Hi, Grandma, how you doing? How things been? Well, over here we we don't have really a time frame or anything, and it's really wonderful over here, and and you'll start remembering and getting back your memory that when you're over there and how things are, and it'll be like old home week, but everybody will get together. It's just going to be phenomenal. It's just through the roof. It's just going to be phenomenal.
That sounds great. I'm excited now.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Hello?
Jared? Hold on. Roger was next. Let him go.
Hello, Jared. Hello, Dr. WC.
Hey, Roger, go ahead.
Hey, I need that email again.
We are one light for all.
Is that white? WHIT?
No, it's L as in Larry, IGHT as in Tom.
Okay, we
are
light.
We are one light for all.
We are one light for all. I understand everything that you're saying. I've been involved to this extent for over 50 years. I've slacked away from, but I really like what you're saying because I want to email you.
Okay.
In the meantime, bless you real good. Bless you, Dr. WC.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
Stay well. Okay, I'm going to get out of the way.
Hello.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Jared,
Thank you.
could you please tell us what kind of healing will happen with the wave or the event?
What type of healing?
Yeah, I mean, so
whole body rejuvenation. Whole body rejuvenation. You'll feel good.
Oh, great. So, we'll get rid of arthritis?
I don't know if all your diseases will be eliminated in the wave of the hand and you'll be refurbished and young and everything. I don't think that's going to be the case. But if you get an increase in vibrational frequency, things that you have, anomalies or problems with your body will be healed. Because obviously, the higher the vibrational frequency, the more the healing.
Okay, and are you going to be speaking on Sunday? You said something about 5:30 with Zara.
No, I haven't put that together yet. I'll let everybody know when that happens. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello. I have 3 fast questions, please.
Okay.
Number 1, the CBD oil on the market that my awareness is 5 months only, seems to create amazing results in just 12 days compared to the capsules and whatnot that one is previously familiar with, at 1 drop 3 times a day. I believe on Tuesday, Smarty said that there is a new CBD oil out that came from, I'm not sure where, I believe Off-World, and I wondered if you could elaborate on this, please.
I don't know about that. You'd probably have to ask him.
That's a universal CBD, the purest form out there. That's had nothing to do with this call right now.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, that's it. I'm on that one. Second one, regarding the planting of seeds at certain times relative to certain moons, I'm not sure if I have it exactly right, but I don't know if it's called lunar planting. I'm not sure, but could you elaborate on that, please?
I'll give you a technology, off-world technology. You have a seed, you put it in the soil. You don't even really need the soil, but you put it in the soil. There's a capsule I don't know how to put it. It's a cover that you put over a field, if you will, a frequency field. It accelerates the time in that field of that particular plant, only in the surrounding space. Okay? Mm-hmm. What happens is that you could have a redwood seed be 200 years old in a matter of seconds. So as far as seed planting and moon phases and everything else, that's going to completely change. Because the technologies will be so far advanced here in the near future that plants will be accelerated. Right now there's another technology that your plant will be fully grown in 7 days. Morning, noon, or night.
Wow.
Morning, noon, or night. Doesn't matter. So the old way of growing things will become obsolete. The replicators will take over a lot of consumption on the planet. Most civilizations live underground because they don't want to deal with the storms and all the stuff that happens on the surface of their planets. So most of them live underground. We're one of the few civilizations that live on top, that live on the surface. And so when you see everybody, you think in that agricultural aspect of the planet where you take so many hectares of land and you plant and, depending on the moon cycles and when's the best time to plant and the harvest moon, when you harvest and, the spring equinox and humanity has been in that mode forever, but with the new technologies, that's just going to completely shift. If you want a plant to grow, you just put a little bit of this on it, and within a few days, it's fully grown.
Oh my goodness!
You want to accelerate the growth of something, you can put the time field around it and accelerate the time in that capsule and have it be 100 years old, 200 years old, depending on what kind of plant it is. So it's a whole different existence. It'll be a whole different world. If you can imagine, as we transition with these technologies and we comprehend them and we're using them like people use microwaves, right? In other words, instead of a microwave, you got a replicator. And you'll get so used to using it, you'll just walk up and tell the replicator what you want. You have a friend over, and she wants, Edith, would you like a cup of coffee? Oh, I'd like a latte. Okay, fine. And you say a latte and blah, 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 and boom, there it is, and boom, you give it to your friend. I mean, it's nothing like today. Nothing like today. Nothing at all. You look in the mirror and your hair is gray, or you don't like the gray color or anything. So you go lay in the med bed, boom, your hair is back to the color it was when you were 20. Clean and healthy and vibrant and everything. There'll be different things that we should have had, all of these technologies. And that's why I say humanity should demand them. But we should have had these technologies years and years ago. We should have been out in the solar system and beyond in the galaxy years and years ago. I mean, for God's sakes, they were using anti-gravitic drive back in the 40s and late 30s, unbeknownst to the human race. Everything's secret, The dark agenda has to keep everything secret. Everything's got to be secret. And I always get concerned when anybody mentions the word secret because they're hiding something, Again, they don't want humanity to know about it because then everybody would have it. Well, that's the idea. That's the idea. So they want to keep lack of always out there, always lack of or running out of this or running out of that. They're going to run out of anything once we start utilizing and incorporating these technologies in a responsible fashion into society. It's just people are just going to, it'll be different. You imagine everybody doing what they enjoy doing, whatever that may be, as long as it doesn't harm others or the environment. If they do that, then they'll be punished. So, we're so used to living in almost a slave society and drudgery and stress and fractured fears and, sickness. I mean, humanity wasn't meant to come down to this planet and be sick all the time, to have cancers and every sickness, there's already a cure. But they end up getting rid of it and hiding it so that no one can have it. And it's all based upon making money and control. See? That's how they've based everything on. Power, control, money. Control it all. Slave mentality. We're breaking free of that as humanity. We're leaving. They don't like that. They don't like that idea. But unfortunately, it's out of their hands. Unfortunately for them, it's out of their hands.
Thank you. And 3 is fast. Fisher and Smarty, Fisher had Smarty create a light chamber hologram a few months back, and it's pink. And my understanding is that the hologram has all the properties of the light chamber, and things can start cooking for you right soon if you have one of these holograms, which I do. And I'd like to know more about what's really going on there. Could you please elaborate on that? And that's my last question, and thank you.
That's Smarty. That's Smarty's question.
I thought Fisher and... Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, I appreciate all your info, and it's mind-blowing, but it all makes sense. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll take one or two more questions here, and then we'll end.
Hi, Jared.
Hello.
Quick question. I'm one of those guys, jack of all trades, master of none, and I'm in my 60s, and I was semi-pro hockey, AA baseball, these things, and the old saying, if I knew then what I knew now, if we can go back to that age, I will know then what I know now. Maybe I can do something about that?
Yeah.
You know exactly.
I understand I know where you're coming from. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's all I need to know right there. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks again.
Yeah. It's interesting. You imagine being young again, but let's say you're 80 and you're 30. Your body's 35, and you've got all that knowledge, and you've got a healthy body. Imagine the help you can give to humanity. Imagine the knowledge, instead of rotting away in an old folks' home or having a decrepit body that's falling apart on you and you can't maneuver or get around anymore.
Of course, 40 years ago, we didn't have the training and the nutrition that we do now, so if we know it now, we go back, We
know it now, and so you get younger, and you've got a healthy, vibrant body, and you apply that. That is phenomenal. When you look at the impact that will have on the social structure of humanity and how many people, some people will do that. Other people just won't be interested in doing it. But imagine the people that do and all the knowledge that they can teach others. And, it's just absolutely phenomenal. It's
so good. Can't put words to it.
It's exciting. There are no words. You're right. There's no words that we've created yet that can describe it. It is so off the charts. It is so phenomenal. And I just wish it could be broadcast out to the whole human race and everybody would get it. And they would start absorbing it. And they'd start thinking in that direction instead of the old paradigm and the goopiness and the sliminess of it and what it's done to humanity. And we're moving out of that. Man, it's time to celebrate. It really is. It's just
horrifying. Just think about the way things have been. It's just friggin' horrifying.
Yes. When the truth comes out, we can get done with it. We can get all that truth, and we can get it in history. And so humanity knows the dark times, long gone, put it in the vault, and everybody knows what happened, and we move on.
Well, you'll hear about me later. I'll be breaking Wayne Gretzky records.
There you go. Do what you enjoy. You got a new body? Go break the records.
Yeah, buddy, you got it. Thank you. Thank you again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mr. Rand.
Hi, Jared.
Yes.
Hello. I have a question to this, what you just said. I am 65. If I want to use this medbed and want to be 45, just to add 20 years to do my project, what am I officially, 65 or 45?
Knowledge-wise, you're 65. Physically-wise, you're 45.
So I'm an old chick in a younger body.
That's a good way to put it, yes.
Okay, another question. You mentioned on Wednesday you have been off the planet already.
Yeah, when I mean about that, I've traveled. Yeah? I have traveled to the edges of this universe.
Did you ever had a chance to meet God?
We all are part.
I mean, who or what is God? Is God an extraterrestrial?
Everything. Everything. All the force, all that there is, all that there will ever be is God. God is inside.
All the other beings out there in the universe, do they have the same God?
Yes.
They all come from the same creation. They all come from the same creation.
Okay.
In one way, shape, form, or another, we're all related. All beings, all existences, every single intelligent life, every form, we are all connected through this universe, through the meta-universes, through all the parallel dimensions. We are connected. We are all one.
Big happy family.
Yeah, we're still, humanity's working on the happy part.
Okay, this is above and beyond our imagination.
Way beyond anything you. I always say to people, imagine whatever you possibly can and then some.
Oh, my Lord.
The higher your imagination, the more you're going to create.
Okay.
Just
sounds good to me.
Constant level of creation, and that's where we're going to end up well into the future. It's just like I said, you want to, if as long as you don't harm the environment, you don't harm others, you will be able to create a waterway and a meadow if you want for the day. I'd like to have this here, and there it is. We have not even begun to realize our full potential as intelligent, sentient beings. We have not even begun to realize because we've been kept in the dark on purpose. There are other beings that wish that we would not get to that point because they would fear us. They have no reason to fear us anyway because we're of a benevolent sort. Once we're informed and educated and we can get some of these disharmonies eliminated.
Jared?
Yes.
Thank you.
Would you explain what will happen to the assets of the Queen, the Rothschilds, their land masses and everything? We appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, when you figure this out, most of everything has been stolen without the consent of the original owners. And when you rape and pillage the people and you keep the people in almost like serfs, if you look at the feudal times and you look at the kings and queens and how they never really did anything, and the people and all their subjects lived in abject poverty. They lived in squalor, and they usually some of them would starve, and they were sick, and the king and queens lived high on the hog in the castles and had all of the servants and everybody, and they had all the land and they owned everything, and that concept is no more. And see, the dark agenda's tried to keep that in power, that ability. So what's going to happen is it's going to be redistributed to the people in the long run. You're going to see governments that are currently structured now dissolve. This is about humanity. This is about the growth of humanity. This is no longer about a handful of beings controlling and enslaving the human race. That's over. This is about humanity progressing, growing, being nurtured into a phenomenal time of peace and prosperity, where all the things that we've experienced in third dimension will not exist. All of the bad, disruptive, aggressive, conflicting scenarios that we've experienced in our short lives in this run won't exist. They'll be washed out. Period.
Excuse me, Jared.
People shooting people, bombing, killing, raping, pillaging, manipulation, all that stuff's just going to vaporize. It's going to go away. It won't exist. Those in the third dimension that hang on to that stuff will experience it until the time comes where they're ready to leave it. Now, you think about this. Think about it. If you did not have to worry about disease, okay, you did not have to worry about aging. You could always reverse the aging. And you did not have to worry about finances and money, and food, and clothing. Where would that put you? Where would that put you in your existence, in your cycle of life? Now, those are all the things that manipulate and control you in this third dimensional density. That's what affects all of us. So, and the lopsidedness of it. So imagine that that's gone. Those concerns are eliminated. So people say, well, what am I going to do with myself? You're going to help others. You're going to do things you enjoy. Maybe you like playing a guitar, so you play the guitar. You don't have to worry about all the other stuff because it's gone. The stress factor will be greatly reduced amongst the human race. The uneasiness, anger, frustration, greatly reduced. We'll still have different emotions. We'll still have disappointments, things that, maybe because we wanted to do something that day and we just didn't have the time to do it. Helping people, you'll be amazed when you get on the mode of helping people, the day won't be long enough. Right? And you'll do it at your own discretion. You'll do it at your own pace. No one will be there beating on you, telling you to do it. You'll do it. You'll decide to do it. I think today I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to enjoy the day. And you won't feel guilty about it, and you'll enjoy the day. Hi, guys, how are you? What are you doing, Mary? I'm just enjoying the day today. And those things are all coming. They're affecting us now. And we're starting to realize, and there's another reason why this currency, all the people involved in this currency shift, each and every one of them, are all doing their part. Nobody's doing negative, except for the dark agenda trying to destroy things and make them bad. But I'm talking about those on the side of the light that are really trying to work things out and get this thing hammered and done with and taken care of. It's a total harmony of humanity's transition from the bad times to the good times. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm just super excited about the fact that I don't have to stress or worry about people going without. They won't go without anymore. People will be prosperous. They'll be taken care of. Not everybody can take care of themselves. And I think the social structure doesn't understand that, but not every human being has the ability to take care of themselves. They need help from others to take care of themselves. And, we're going to have so many different things happen. It'll be at breakneck speed. Things will accelerate. Comprehension. Everybody across the board comprehending things, understanding them. Conversations will be off the charts. People will want to, eventually people will be asking tons of questions. They'll be coming to you, asking you for all kinds of questions. Because you'll be more informed, let's put it that way. Everybody on this call is more informed than the general population. You know the truths. You're aware. You're aware what's coming. You're going to be the leaders and the guiders and the assisting and getting humanity on its feet and off in the right direction. So, okay, we're at 11:39. I think we'll call it end for tonight. And I appreciate everybody coming. I do the best I can to help as much as I can, and I'm here to serve.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
You serve very well, and we truly appreciate you. God bless you.
God bless you. Good night, everybody.